Good morning, students. In this class, we are going to discuss about anatomy of flowering plants chapter, and from that chapter, we are going to discuss about a subtopic. It is about cork cambium. So now let's begin today's session. Students, in the previous class, we had a discussion regarding spring wood and autumn wood, right? Hope you remembered it. So now let me recap just small detailed information regarding that spring wood and autumn wood. And the activity of cambium is under the control of many physiological and environmental factors. So climatic conditions generally depends upon the cambium activity. So if the climatic conditions are so hot and so cool and so humid, those also depend upon the cambium activity physiologically. Got it, everybody? For example, now let us discuss one short example. In temperate regions like in our India, the climatic conditions are not uniform throughout the year because different seasons are there, right? So in summer climate will be hot and in winter the climate will be cool. So like that variations can be seen in the climatic conditions. In this spring season, let's see how it may happen. Cambium is very active and produces a large number of jewelry elements having vessels with wider activities, right? So this is happening in the spring season before summer season, right? Then the wood formed during this season is called spring wood or early wood. So what's the definition for spring wood or early wood? The wood which is forming in the spring season is called as spring wood or early wood. Next, followed by one more season in winter season. Let's see how the cambium is performing its activity. In winter, the cambium is less active and forms fewer jewelry elements that have narrow vessels, and this wood is called autumn wood or late wood, isn't it or not? So for example, in our India, first we can able to see spring season followed by monsoon and later entering into winter. So in winter season what may happen, the cambium is less active, but in spring season the cambium is more active. So in cambium in winter season less active and forms fewer jewelry elements that have narrow vessels, and this wood is called autumn wood or late wood. Understand? So let's see some more information regarding this wood. The spring wood is lighter in color and has a lower density, whereas the autumn wood is darker and has a higher density. So this is the difference between spring wood and autumn wood. The two kinds of woods that appear as alternate concentric rings constitute an annual ring. So this is one important concept. So generally annual rings seen in a cut stem give an estimate of the age of a tree. So how can we estimate the age of a tree? By counting or knowing the detailed study of annual ring or rings when we are cutting the tree horizontally. Most probably you have seen in the surroundings when the farmers are cutting the trees horizontally with the help of machines, might be have seen some circular rings. Those rings are nothing but called as annual rings or year rings. So those year rings or annual rings helps to identify the approximate age of the trees. It means how old it is. Understand? Then here students, these are the two words based on the seasons. Now let us see kinds of words based on the strongness. First, I would like to help you to give information regarding heartwood. In the older trees, the greater part of secondary xylem is dark brown due to deposition of organic compounds like tannins, resins, and oils, gums, aromatic substances, and essential oils in the central or innermost layers of the stem. So these substances make it hard, durable, and resistant to the attacks of microbes and insects. So this region comprises dead elements with highly lignified walls, and this is called heartwood. Then next, the heartwood does not conduct water, but it gives mechanical support to the stem. The peripheral region of the secondary xylem is lighter in color and has very significant characteristic, and this light colored wood is called as sapwood, which is present peripherally or border side. It is involved in conduction of water and minerals from the root to leaf. So students, when farmers are cutting the trees, might be have noticed center portion is dark brown in color. The center portion is called heartwood, and the peripheral side light brown color wood is present, that is called sapwood. So these are the two types of woods based on the woodiness. Got it everybody? Next, one more important concept let's discuss now. It is about cork cambium. As the stem continues to increase in girth due to the activity of vascular cambium, the outer cortical and epidermal layers get broken. You can see how they are broken on the screen, and need to be replaced those broken cells with new cells by providing new protective layers. Hence, sooner or later, another meristematic tissue is forming called cork cambium or pelogen developing. Usually in the cortex region it is happening. So pelogen is a couple of layers and thick in nature. It is made up of narrow cells and which have narrow space and thin walled and nearly rectangular cells. Understand? So students, here this pelogen cuts off cells on both the sides, left and right. You can see on the screen. The outer cells differentiate into cork or pellum. Understand? So the outer cells differentiate into cork or pellum, while the inner cells differentiate into secondary cortex or pelloderm. Got it everybody? Then here the cork is impervious to water due to suberin deposition in the cell wall. The cells of secondary cortex are parenchymatous. I repeat, the cells of secondary cortex are parenchymatous. So pellum, pelogen and the pelloderm are collectively known as periderm. I repeat once again this concept, please listen. The cork is impervious to water due to suberin deposition in the cell wall. The cells of secondary cortex, understand, secondary cortex nothing but called as pelloderm, right, or parenchymatous. So pellum, it means cork cambium, pelogen and pelloderm are collectively known as periderm. Understand? So this is one important point for competitive examinations. In competitive examinations like NEET, they may ask components of periderm, or the question can be asked like this: periderm is made up of. So the correct answer is pellogen, nothing but cork cambium, pellum, nothing but cork, and pelloderm, nothing but secondary cortex. Three collectively called as periderm. Understand? So due to activity of cork cambium, pressure builds up on the remaining layers of peripheral to pellogen, and ultimately these layers die and slug off. So this phenomenon is happening in the dicotyledon plants during secondary growth. Then how bark is forming? Let's see. Bark is non-technical term, and that refers to all tissues exterior to the vascular cambium. Exterior to vascular cambium means outer side. So bark is a non-technical term which is present to all the tissues outer side, especially to the vascular tissues outside it is present. Then what are the vascular tissues? Xylem and phloem. To these vascular tissues, xylem and phloem, exteriorly this bark is present. Therefore, including secondary phloem. So now let us see some characteristics of bark, students. Bark refers to a number of tissue layers, and here those are as follows. Let us see what are those tissue layers. Now I will tell you two layers, early layer and late layer. So for example, for a year 2 layers are forming, and for 5 years 10 layers, for 10 years 20 layers, and consequently these layers are forming like that, one above another. Let us see how these layers are forming. You can see the screen, students, very clearly. Bark refers to a number of tissue layers and tissue types. What are those? Like periderm, and just now we had a discussion. Periderm means three components are present. What are those? Pellogerm, pellum, and pelloderm. Three collectively known as periderm. So this periderm and secondary phloem, these are the few different types of tissues refers to the referring the bark. So bark that is formed early in the season is called early bark. Hence it is forming early in the season, soft in nature, so that's why it is also called as soft bark. So early bark is also called as soft bark. Understand? Next, one more point, students. Towards the end of the season, any season, the bark which is forming, it is called as late bark. It is forming late, right? So when it is forming late, obviously it is forming by facing some days and weeks and months, and during this duration what may happening, the soft bark is developing into hard bark. So soft bark only developing as a hard bark. So the early bark which is happening or forming is developing into hard bark, and it is also popularly called as late bark. Understand? So these are the two types of barks. One is early bark or soft bark, the second one is late bark or hard bark. Got it, everybody? Now let us see one more important point regarding this bark. At certain regions, the pelogen cuts off closely arranged parenchyma cells on the outer side instead of cork cells. So pelogen cells cutting off and arranging these parenchyma cells on the outer sides. These parenchyma cells soon ruptures the epidermis. So soon they are rupturing the epidermis and forming a lens-shaped openings called lenticels. Forming a lens-shaped openings called lenticels. Lenticels permit the exchange of gases between the outer atmosphere and internal tissue of the stem. So these occur in the most woody trees. These are generally occurring in the most woody trees. And next, you can see the lenticels on the screen. Lenticels permit the exchange of gases between the outer atmosphere and the internal tissues of the stem. Okay, this is the most important function, and these occur in most woody trees, like the trees which live for long span, like 10 years, 20 years, etc. Now students, let us see one more important concept regarding this bark. So this bark can be seen generally in many of the trees like mango, neem, tamarindas, eucalyptus, etc. So this bark is a significant characteristics for secondary growth, and that too significant characteristic for that the trees are old in nature, higher in age. And in the secondary growth of plants is quite vary with the other parts, roots and etc. Now let us see how the secondary growth takes place in roots. In the dicot root, the vascular cambium is completely secondary in region, and it is originating at originating completely later to the primary growth. It originates from the tissue located just below the phloem bundles. A portion of pericycle tissue above the protoxylem forming a complete and continuous wavy ring. You can see a continuous and wavy ring on the screen, okay, and which later becomes circular. Further events are similar to those already described above for a dicotyledon stems. So rest of the events just which we had a discussion now are similar to the dicotyledon stems when we are discussing about even roots. So in the roots and stems, the secondary growth is just similar to each other. Next, let us discuss about how the secondary growth is taking place in the gymnosperms. Gymnosperms, like in cycas and pinus, the secondary growth is also happening, and the secondary growth is happening in the roots and stems in both the parts. So this is because many gymnosperms are woody in nature, like sequoia, and the sequoia is very tallest gymnosperm and woody in nature, because the woodiness is forming because of the secondary growth only. And even we can see in cycas and netum roots also, they're very woody and strong and penetrates the soil, and they're getting mechanical support by undergoing secondary growth. And next, one more point to be discussed. This secondary growth is generally can't be seen in monocotyledon plants. Example like rice and wheat, maize, jowar, etc. In these plants, the secondary growth is completely absent. Due to this phenomenon only, monocot plants are generally very small in nature, like herbs, that too annual, and moreover they are seasonal. and they live for a short span. They cannot undergo furtherly secondary growth. When they are not cannot when they are cannot undergo for secondary growth, generally their stem or roots are very weak in nature. Understand? So students, this is how the secondary growth is taking place in roots, and hope you understood this chapter. With this I conclude this chapter. Thank you one and all.